Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I have a sharp game to share with you from round 3 of the 2025 FIDE World Cup. This was played today, November 7th, on the white end Pentala Harikrishna, playing against Daniel Dardha. Alright, this is game 1 of 2, and we work with an open Sicilian. And with the move, bishop g5, this is the Richter-Rauzer Variation. e6, queen d2, a6. From here, white captures on c6, and only then, castles. If you switch this move order, black can play bishop d7, trying to capture on c6 one move later. There's a new way to recapture. Now this might raise a question. Why not maybe play bishop d7 instead of a6? Well, this is where you could see the b5 square taken advantage of. Note with bishop d7, yes, you cover the knight, but you also mask the queen. d6 is sensitive, knight d to b5 would be there. And this is a problem. 2 attackers, 1 defender, a third right around the corner. So, in short, before making any commitment with the light square bishop, let's first cover b5. Knight takes, knight follows, pawn takes knight, and queenside castles. From here, black breaks the pin on the knight. There is a big center, sort of 3-on-1 here. Suppose it starts to roll. I want to draw some attention to d5. A good move here is queen e3. There's multiple pins. Knight still pinned, d-pawn pinned, and this e-pawn is nearly pinned. After this capture, there we go. If black goes ahead and breaks the pin on the knight at this stage, this is a way you can continue with your development. This diagonal, this post here on b3, very good for the light square bishop. It will function as a very good offensive and defensive piece. Good defender for the king. Okay, black does not press with d5. It's bishop e7. Bishop captures knight. And from here, white takes with the pawn. Taking with the bishop, hangs d6, so g takes f6 it is. Evaluation here reads around plus 0.2. Of course, still a game, unusual structure, bishop pair, question mark over the black king, where will it feel comfortable? All right, from here, more development. Bishop c4. Pop quiz, how would you respond here? Pause the video if you'd like. Okay, black plays bishop b7. This is a healthy move. What is not healthy is advancing the big center with d5. This is a big blunder. Let's see why. There would be a knight sacrifice, and this is crushing. This last move carries multiple threats, one on the rook, the other to simply get on this diagonal and say check. Let's test out a few moves from here. Rook move, a7 or b8, and this one here. The idea in response to bishop e6 is not to take the rook. We'd be looking at a 2 bishops versus rook imbalance. There are no entry points. The bishops cover a lot of ground. The idea is to land the check, and after the king moves, land another check, and then say thanks for the queen. And if the rook moves, let's say to b8, similar story. Got the check. All right. The bishop moves, we take a bishop. King moves, we got that same trick. The queen will fall. Finally, if the rook goes to the 7th rank, okay, there's a new move available after this check. You can block, but now there's this move queen e3. Queen definitely functioning like a queen. Bishop pinned, multiple pins here, rook under fire. Let's say you save the rook. There's this idea available where you take advantage of this pin. You will get that material back, and in the end, enjoy being up 2 healthy pawns. Okay. My point, playing d5, big blunder. It's bishop b7 here. Final piece activated, queen a5. We're 12 moves into this 25 move game. And from here we have king b1. With the king on b1 rather than c1, this prevents black from expanding in the center. In the game, we have queen c5. Computer doesn't like this. Queen c5, targeting the bishop. Evaluation is about +1 after this. It prefers h5. You do rule out any queen h6 tricks. It's healthy to advance with that isolated pawn. Some more scope for the rook. In addition to h5, it's looking at queenside castles. Now, let me demonstrate why having the king on b1 rather than c1 interferes with this d5 idea. If d5 is played here, there would be knight captures d5. This is a nice trick. The queen on a5, very active, but at the same time unprotected. This trick is available to white. We see these ideas frequently out of a Sicilian dragon. It shows up here as well, with a sort of unique twist. Before you can take the knight, you would have to resolve the tension between the queens. If queen takes queen here, no, it is not with check, and this gives white time to land in betweener. Knight, c7 check would be there. And now what? You could approach the knight. If you go in the other direction, you take the queen. Rook is hit. There's pressure on a6, and if you want to cover both, rook a7, the rook enters here on d7. Very active. Very good position here for white. Winning position for white. There are no tricks with bishop c8, by the way. Knight check, rook falls. Okay. The other path at this moment here, after the knight check, approaching the knight, you take the rook. If you take the queen, the knight falls. Okay, the queen isn't going anywhere. You're in a pin. You take the rook. This tension resolves, and it calls this position here after bishop d6, check, knight a4, calls it about +1. Okay, fancy continuation there. Knight captures d5 in response to d5. In this game, we have queen c5, bishop b3, d5 only now, no tricks on this diagonal. But now the queen is a little vulnerable. It's a 3-on-1 in the center. White says, well, not for long. Let's get my knight out of the way of the c-pawn with tempo. And now we have c4. So this is super valuable, and white with c4 here is managing to break black's center down. And really the only thing black could then point to is, hey, I have the bishop pair, but there remains this big question mark over that black king. I don't know how it's ever going to feel safe here. Now, this is not even considered top. There is a clearer approach, one I found very instructive, and it's one where you just take on d5 and then invite the f-pawn into the mix, looking forward to f5 next, influencing the middle pawn of this pawn island. Without it, we have isolated pawns everywhere. I took it out a little bit further here. If black tries to prevent f5 by playing f5 himself, g4 is winning. With the idea pawn takes, you do get an f5. This center is broken down. Good luck surviving that. Okay, king caught in the middle there. We don't have the capture on d5 here. It's an immediate c4. Pop quiz, how would you respond here? Pause the video if you'd like. Okay, black blunders here. There is only one path here to try and stay in the game, and it is with d takes c4. In the game, we have rook d8. So this here is the top line to take on c4, and only then play rook d8. From here, it's looking at queen f4. Okay, it's still a healthy position, favorable position there for white. I was curious about the other capture, taking on e4. Computer likes c5 here. Does a number on the bishop, queen, both bishops in fact, fixing the c6 pawn. Black cannot take twice here on c5. In the end, there is a check, and the bishop will fall. Also trying to scare the queen away, she will find an active post. Let's say there's a rook exchange here, and then black goes for the captures on c5. There's yet again a fork with queen b8 in the end. In fact, there'll be queen captures rook there. So this here was top. This here was an only move. Black plays it with rook d8, and now white is winning with c takes d5, c takes d5, no c pawn around in this line, and that can be taken advantage of. Mission accomplished with the knight move to a4. There's nothing exciting happening on these dark squares. They're covered. You just went there so that the c pawn can play a role. You've done just that. Let's get the knight back into the ballgame. Knight c3 is the winning way, and this move carries multiple threats. Increased pressure now on d5 and a clearance for bishop a4 next check. No c pawn around. This is a huge problem. There's no solve here. Black continues with pawn takes pawn. If something else, let's say the pawn advances, there's a check, king f8, another check, king g8, and we have this rook lift. And there's no good answer to this. Bishop d6 gets shot right down with e5. Bishop takes, rook takes is there. Nearby, rook g3, ball game. All right, how it's playing out here. Black responds to knight c3 with the capture. Bishop a4 check is still there. King f8, queen h6 check is still there. And we get this same idea, but in this case, a pair of rooks has been exchanged. A rook lift, rook g3, covered. But now comes knight takes e4, threatening a mate in one. From here, bishop captures knight is played. If bishop e5, the bishop is officially overloaded. There's rook g3, bishop captures rook, knight captures pawn is checkmate. So it's bishop captures knight here, rook captures bishop, g4 nearby. That's covered with f5. Final pop quiz. How would you respond here? Pause the video if you'd like. All right, a nice finishing touch to this one. Move 25. Rook captures e6, and black resigns. If the game continued, well, what are you even supposed to do here as black? There's this checkmate threat. No covering it either. You could still go there. The bishop supports that advance. There's more efficient approaches in such a position. This is the main one to touch on. What happens if the rook is captured? The winning way would be with bishop b3. And we're looking at a sort of crisscross mate soon enough. And how do you interfere with that? Covering this, you still go in for that trick. There will be a follow-up fork of the king and bishop, completely lost there for black. And if the king tries to run, this is a very sad situation, by the way, for this rook. This extra rook has not a single legal move. Okay, if the king tries to make a run for it, we would have a checkmate in 4, kicking off with queen captures e6. King f8, checkmate on f7. King g7, you still go to f7, check. King h6, queen f6, check. King h5, only move. And finally, bishop d1 for checkmate. This was a very nice game. Black center really got blasted here. Inviting that c pawn into the mix, the position quickly turned critical, and black did not find the precise way. Anyhow, your thoughts with this one, feel free as usual to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care.